Samson, wait, now it's Daniel's turn. Daniel, 2 minutes.
I give my 2 minutes to Linda.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Answer my
I
question,
appreciate
Linda.
that. Right. I appreciate that. Soren, noted what you said. I could have answered you in kind, but I decided to take the high road, which is, of course, unknown to you. Anyway, to answer you, Samson, it's very common that orchid roots grow wildly, and that does them a lot of good. It keeps them super healthy. So there you go. My next, Isaac, why are you giving those? What? Isaac, let's see. I'm also growing pineapples, if anyone's interested. And Danielle, please don't ask you if they're standing straight up or not, because I was already on this app. It was explained to me things like that. So yeah, mine is just standing straight up.
Yeah, watch out for that watermelon, sir. I mean, that watermelon, that might be trouble for you, sir.
How do we do the watermelon thing?
Yeah.
What do you do with the watermelon? You put it on the back?
אבל למה בא לי ממש לקלל אותו, אבל אני סותמת את הפה.
Sorry, my bad.
אני סותמת את הפה. האם מישהו יכול לשים אותו במקום? האם מישהו יכול לשים אותו במקום? בשביל כבודי, אני מאוד אעריך את זה. תודה.
אני הייתי רוצה לשים אותו בקהל, אבל לא יכול.
אז למה לא?
אתה יכול, אתה צריך לשנות את הסוג של החדר, ואז לעשות כאילו hand raising, ואז אתה יכול.
עמוס, תוריד אותו. אין לי כוח. מי זה? מי? לא, אפילו לא הייתי פה. רגע, שמעתי מרחוק איזה קולות איזה... Lauren, can I ask you a question? What does this title mean to coexistence? Is it possible, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's possible.
Okay, so what would be the way to start in this room with coexistence?
Just first thing first, you need to recognize what I just started at my opening. This just to be saying that you would be also saddened and recognize the death of Jewish, Muslims, Christian in this conflict, not just only be hyper-focused on one side.
We just have a room, and let's see if people in the room, first, before we solve the room problem, let's see if we can get along in a room. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
All right. So we don't want to say anything derogatory or offensive, or have that said to us either. So, okay, people in the room, do we all hear that? So let's give Soren a chance.
He's a Saudi doctor, the guy from Death Jack, and one.
Our doctor did this? A Saudi doctor did this?
Yes,
In
one
Germany?
of the casualties is
In Germany?
one of the and one of the casualties is a young boy.
Wow.
What, it doesn't like Christmas?
Yeah, that's a problem. Look, I have to actually talk about it. And I guess these days we keep talking about Saudi Arabia, the MBS trying to basically open up the doors, bringing all these, singers to Saudi Arabia. And obviously for people who's not in the region, they said, well, it's opening up the country. But the problem is not the government there. I mean, the problem is the culture, unfortunately, exists, which created, groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. The problem is deeper than that. So that's why I always say, be very careful of that, of who you're supporting. But like we can say the same thing in Syria, by the way. I was gobsmacked to see Americans officials coming and visited this Al-Qaeda affiliated group in Syria literally today. We have to be very careful of what we're supporting in here. I mean, in Saudi Arabia, they've done good things in the past 10 days. So I say 10 years, but it's not enough. It's not enough. I mean. The problem is that it's a pick and choose. I mean, what we saw about the MBS, for example, about murdering the journalist, American green card holder, Jamal Khashoggi, the Washington Post actually writer. What he did to that journalist was just a token of whether he actually believes in reforms or he's just trying to bring up some singers to Saudi Arabia just to showcase to us. But I'm waiting to see how that doctor has actually been indoctrinated. conduct that. I saw the video. It was very disturbing what the guy did, and he's educated in. So the problem is not education, by the way. The problem is indoctrination. He can be educated, by the way, still, radicalized. Let's not forget those people who actually did 9/11. They were all managed to actually fly the plane. So imagine if you're a pilot. So obviously you're not ignorant. I mean, you're not illiterate. You're not uneducated, but you still can be radicalized. You still can be do crazy things. Famous things.
That's a very good point. It wasn't spur of the moment or spontaneous. It was well thought out and planned by rational, intelligent people. That's what you're saying. It's interesting. It's a good point. It's indoctrination. It makes the problem even more serious, if you ask me.
איך הגעתם לנהל דוד? לא הבנתי.
Hervé wants to say something. Hervé,
Son,
what
do
up?
we have, hey buddy, do we have peace yet? I mean, the war has been going on for a long time.
No, you know the answer to that.
Maybe. The answer is maybe. Can I have a few words as well, if you don't mind?
No, the answer is resounding no. Unfortunately, we do not have peace.
So, to be honest, if we want to solve this problem, I think first we should clarify some stuff, and then we should define the principle, and we can talk. So, first, I think our talk should be based on respect, and I think everyone agree with that one. And then second one, we should have a principle works for all of us as a human being. So I think we should talk about the principle first.
What's the principle?
Nelson Mandela has a very good points about principle. He said the principle that changes, that's not a principle. So if you, for example, living in wherever, say Germany, you have a principle today about human being, and then next government coming up and your principle changed. So that's mean you have a issue with the principle, or you don't understand the principle. So what I'm saying is the principle, when we're making moral thing about human being, it doesn't matter if it's Palestinian, Israeli, Persian, Turkish, Arab, or Kurdish, or whatever. So we are talking about human being, and it doesn't change. So I'm gonna start with this point. Are we all agree on some determination or not? Is that principle? It should work for everyone.
No, I disagree, Charlotte. It's all about national interest, and I can tell you why. I think we're talking about literally about the Kurdish self-determination. I think that's where you're going. But look, the national interests of countries vary from time to time. You can't expect, let's say, Israel to recognize, your national interests. Depends on the human rights, and I can say why. At one point, it's the Israel's national interest to side with Turkey. At one point, it's to be against Turkey. It applies to literally all countries around the world. So you can't just literally say just because the Kurds got no country, you should expect the other countries to follow suit. At one point, yeah, I get it. People start supporting them for their own national, interest. But now, with geopolitics,
the point I'm talking about this group. No, not about the government's interest.
Individually 100%. Yeah, individually 100%. But when it comes collectively as a government, you can't expect anyone to follow your suit. I mean, look at what's going on now. I mean, there are some rumors that Israel and Turkey are silent now. If they are, I'm pretty assuming, speculating, they're going to sell you guys. No more Kurdish independence. Obviously, that's not what Turkey wants. And I do not expect the Israel to recognize the Kurdistan. And obviously, obviously Israel is not going to do that because Israel are irrational when it comes to that, and they never, by the way, they never ever recognized the Armenian genocides because they didn't want to, they wanted to appease Turkey. I mean, they're very consistent in their national interests, so they're not emotional, and I don't think they will. I'm sad to tell you, Shaw, they don't care about you, to be honest with you. They're using you as a pawn.
This is a deliberately pro-Iranian IRGC person. Israel has. Amos, you want to send this asshole down?
No, I thought you were dead by now, man.
Eitan, you want to send? Eitan, would you send the asshole down, please?
You see your iPhone down, please.
Or you want to moderate it?
Yo, what are your thoughts on 6 million Jewish people dying?
There you go. Okay. Thank you. So the
You look
person.
like you sell carpets or some shit.
Thank you. So the person who just spoke is the IRGC person who hates the Kurds.
I'm IRGC?
As he hates the Kurds, as he hates the...
No, I can see you.
Okay, wait, Jay, wait. We want to make a conversation. Jay,
I'm gonna kick you out.
let them all finish and then you speak.
Thank you.
And more finish.
Thank you. So I'm talking about Puria, who calls himself Soren, of those things, Puria, who is a spokesperson for the
Wait, can you
IRGC.
repeat that, please? I think you're cutting out your Wi-Fi.
I mute you and Moro the first time. The second time, I'll remove you.
I'm just asking if you could repeat what you were saying.
I will unmute you second time. The third time, I will remove you. JH. Okay, but go down. Thank you.
So the person who spoke, Puria, who calls himself Soren, that's not his real name, is a spokesperson for the IRGC, the Iranian fascist jihadist Nazi murderous regime that kills Arabs, that kills Kurds, and that kills Jews. So it is a lie that the Jews do not acknowledge the Armenian genocide. In fact, the Jews of the world banded together to try to stop the Armenian genocide. Furthermore, the Jews have fought side by side with the Kurds, and we regard them as wonderful allies. And we recognize their right to indigeneity and a homeland, as we recognize the right of any people to indigeneity and a homeland, whether it's the Jews of Israel or the Arabs of the Levant or anybody else. People, it is a fundamental human right, universally acknowledged. The human beings have the right to sovereignty, indigeneity, and self-determination. And I'll land it there. Thank you, Shah. And Shabbat Shalom to everybody.
I just want to say once again, people who are serious about the subject of the law will keep to the subject of the law. I don't know why Soren thinks that the Armenian genocide is going to aid in coexisting. What does that have to do with the subject of the law? I know that there are other reasons why someone will bring that up. So, Soren, let's keep it on how we can coexist and not how we can call each other names and so on and so on.
Just a second, I'm sorry. Sorry. As Iranian, I can tell you fuck you, okay? Fuck you.
Thank you very much. That's a good coexist word. Well, thank you so much. You guys tried several times. Okay, we know.
I mean, this is the tragic thing. The fascist Nazi regime is the pariah of the world. Is the pariah. Say again.
They're doing our work for us, okay? They're showing that they're not interested. You see, it was a Jewish person that initiated a room with a very nice subject called coexistence. And people coming in this room to troll that or not go along with this are coming from a certain side. So let's just keep going, and let's. I would like to thank you for the advertisement that you're giving us, but that's not the spirit of the room either. So please, let's try to do a coexistence room. Intelligent, educated, well-meaning people, please, let's do it. Integrity.
Thanks, Eitan and Amos.
But I'm sorry, I'm not going to respond to previous speaker, right?
Eitan, because obviously he's not from the region. Happy to respond to you, Eitan.
Well, one doesn't have to be of the region. You aren't either. And all of us are sharing our thoughts here. So this is irrelevant.
I understand. If Daniel, Shahu, and Hossein, you guys are from the Middle East, I'm happy to interact with you guys. I'm from someone from New York.
So don't answer Zoran if he doesn't want to answer. He doesn't want to answer.
I'm not going to respond to that person. I'm just going to tell you guys.
You don't have the basis to respond. You're not qualified to respond, but share your thoughts, sir. What do you
Let hear what he has to say. Soren, please. Share your thoughts.
But no personal attacks.
Speaking of.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, I think with the coexistence, it's first thing first, we have to acknowledge the suffering that both sides went through. It's not going to acknowledge the fact that the Holocaust and 6 million Jews were murdered by Nazi Germany. I'm not going to be able to coexist without acknowledgement of the suffering of the Jews in the 1940s. I mean, that's one of the foundations of being able to coexist, to recognize and acknowledge the sufferings of both sides. So in the case of Shahu, which I was saying, you obviously understand his concern, but I was trying to trying to let him know not to be like too much emotional about this self-determination, just to be a little bit of rational, understand countries shifting their position from time to time. It's natural, and I didn't want to pick on Israel to be exact. It's just pretty much the same thing applies to other countries in the region. It's normal that the countries use other people's struggles for their own national interests. It is a very common practice, literally, in geopolitics everywhere around the world. So you've got to understand it, and not to have some sort of love and hate relationship with the people in that region, just to understand how the game works, and not to be superficials, and not to be fooled by
people. My question was, as a right, self-determination is a right for everyone or not?
Well, my personal view is that the answer is no. That's my answer.
But the world has said yes, despite the Iranian and the jihadist Nazi regime. The rest of the world says yes, of course.
Okay, did Soren say that not everyone has the right?
He says he does not, recognize that right.
Okay, Soren, would you like to say why?
I mean, it's not a right necessarily. Like, I can give an example. Forget about the Middle East, because the Middle East is a little bit, people get triggered easily. Let's talk about another part of the world which people don't get easily triggered. Let's talk about like Catalonia.
Why don't we talk about the Kurds, Soren? We're talking about the Kurds now. Why don't we talk about this? We're in the room together.
No, because the Kurdish situation is very similar to Catalonia.
We talk about the Turks directly. Why don't they deserve a right to self-determination?
No, they deserve, but it's not their right. That's my point. They deserve to have them, but it's not their right. It's not like
those are synonymous. Deserve and right are the same.
Oh, it's not the same. Well,
yes, in English it is.
Okay. So, look, the right is the Catalonia. I mean, just because you disagree with the Catalonia.
Try to talk about that.
I know, but the Kurdish is the same as Catalonia.
No, it's completely.
You can disagree. You can disagree with the Kurdish.
Let's speak for a minute or two, and then we'll get reviews. Let's move on.
Well, even in the situation of Kurds, you can still argue that the Kurdish people need to have their own language wherever country they are. There should be no discrimination or no racism toward the Kurds, which does exist, unfortunately, particularly in Turkey. You can always have that argument, but at the same time, you can say that I don't accept the Kurds to have their own country. I mean, these two things is not mutually exclusive. You can have both arguments at the same time, because it actually exists in Europe. Like I said, there are many people who have the same argument in Spain about the case of Catalonia. There are Catalans that have business in Barcelona. I've been to Madrid and not seen many Spanish people in Catalonia. They have their own business, but they believe it's not the within interest of the Spain to let the Catalonia go. I understand that argument. I also understand the Catalonian argument that they have because of the culture, because of the language and everything they have, that they want to have their independence. But they tried to have a referendum very similar to what the Kurds did in 2017. Very similar case. And obviously the state of Spain didn't win for the obvious reason. because they believe that when you are smaller, you're weaker in that region. But no one says that you don't have
are not being slaughtered by Spain the way your country, Iran, is slaughtering the Kurds.
I mean, Iran's actually
Turkey, by the way.
I mean, Iran's obviously for those people who don't live in the region, obviously they don't know. Iran's president is actually born in Kurdistan. His mother tongue is Kurdish. So I don't know what it tells you, but it tells me that it's no issue, at least in Iran, with the Kurds. But obviously, there are so many rooms to be improved about the Kurds. I mean, there are lots of issue in terms of the schools that they need to have their own language. I think they still have their own language, but the argument is that they don't have the representation in government the way that they expect, particularly the Kurd Sunni. That's an argument to make, but I don't really think you can find anyone in Iran, opposition for government, against the government, pro-Shah, against Shah, that are willing to give up the Kurdistan Iran. So that's the fact. I mean, that's the agreement. I mean, everyone on board. And I believe this is the same thing in Turkey. Regardless of you're pro-Recep Tayyip Erdogan or anti-Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The matter of fact, you cannot find any Turkey that is willing to give up the east of Turkey. So these are the facts on the ground. So that's why I don't really think it's a right, Joe, with all due respect. I think...
No, that's fine. I have some argument with a document, to be honest. So when it comes to Benjamin Netanyahu as a ICC, that is they calling him...
war criminal. That's the word.
War criminal. So do you accept that one?
Two people, Gallant and Netanyahu.
Yeah. So do you accept that one by ICC?
Oh, 100%. 1,000%.
Okay, so ICC about self-determination has two articles, sir. One is Article 1 and there is Article 3 talking about self-determination, specifically about Kurds and Catalan and Scottish and Quebec. So what are you saying now? So you can't tell me you are in favor of ICC about Netanyahu, but you're not in others. So.
I mean, the technicality of that. I mean, the referendum in 2017 was not recognized by state of Iraq at that time. So it was sad that you informed that was actually a legal referendum that you guys did. I stopped me saying that.
I'm talking about ICC. I'm talking about ICC.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a mechanism.
ICC political rights that relate to ICC.
If the countries, let's say in Iraq, decided all of them, obviously referendum, decided to show that we want to give the independence to Kurdistan, for sure.
So do you think is that right for Palestinian asking Israeli to give them a thingy country or not? Do you accept that? So we're gonna ask Israeli to give the Palestinian country. Do you accept that?
They don't have to give it, they have to recognize it. That's what they're going to recognize.
Same scenario for Kurds?
I mean, if there is a referendum, let's say in Iran, all the people decide to say, look, we want to let them to be independent. For sure, there should be a mechanism. But the problem is that the same law, unfortunately, does not apply to the United States. I mean, if United States, California decided to go independent, by constitution, they can't do that. Even the fact that California, I don't know if you've been there before, the woke culture is actually different. I mean, you are in California and you go to the south of the state.
You're distracting.
Two different parts of the world.
There's no genocide of Californians going on in this country. And California has not been trying to gain independence from this country. These are absurd analogies. Why don't you address the actual subject, which is the Kurds, and why do we talk about the ICC ruling on the Kurds instead of trying to run away from it? I'm going to pin one thing. I'm pinning it to the top of the room.
And there's another thing about. So if you're looking for similar nation as a Kurds, you can look at the Scottish. So David Cameron gave them a chance to have a referendum, right? And they didn't ask the British people, all the British people, to give them a self-determination. They asked Scottish people about their future. So I think this is really legitimate to asking that people to having that referendum, not asking all the Britain what they're thinking about Scottish independence. So I don't know if if we're asking Turks, do you let the Kurds gonna go or not? In my opinion, the answer is they're not letting the Kurds go in. So you're just telling me this is just like an absurd question asking Turks. Does the Kurds? Do you let the Kurds go or not? I don't think so. They'll let them go. So what do you think about Scottish referendum? Sorry.
Well, look, again, it depends on the country that is hosting that. I mean, it varies from country to country. We have look, the countries usually doesn't give up their sovereignty easily. I mean, a very modern, contemporary example probably would be Yugoslavia, which they're, the Bosnian, the Croatian, and the Serb.
She's a white woman.
Similar to the topic of the room, coexist together, but obviously they couldn't. And thanks to the war and NATO intervention, they decided to, they literally ended up having their own so-called self-determinations. But it still remains to be seen. Many people argue that it's still, that part of the world is still, might be another, catastrophe, another Balkan war. Some people predict it's going to happen in the decades to come. Because, the countries are not give up their sovereignty easily. I mean, some countries like United States, they actually put that in the constitution, so to make it impossible to independence. So I know they've got also, with the case of the US, it's very clear that it's not only the constitution, it's also the actual, I think it was in Texas, there was a ruling in the Supreme Court ruling, I think it was in 1869, if I'm not right, if my memory serves. It's impossible to do that. Which I think is the right thing.
To be honest, I think we are talking two different levels. One, I'm asking you your personal view on it, and second one, the reality of the world,
It's not
But what I'm asking you is your view, because we're talking about this.
Look, if Kurds want to have the country for sure, but you're telling me the word the right. I don't really think it's the right to be independent. Again, if it was the right that was recognized, they wouldn't put it in the Constitution of the United States. One day, if the California wanted to independent for any reason that they think is inappropriate,
This is a misstatement of
they
the
can't do that.
Constitution of the United States. Again, you're ignorant of the Constitution of the United States. It says no such thing, and there is no ethnic group that's been the victim of genocide in the United States, and there is no independence movement in the United States. There's no people who have been begging for sovereignty and effort. It's just not an analogy. And I think you're doing this deliberately, frankly. So I think it's time you address the question directly.
How come you work?
Okay, look, the Article 4 of the Amendment 4 literally says, I can read it to you if you want. The Constitution established perpetual union among the states. Article 4, Section 3 allows for the creation of new states,
Bro.
but does not permit that.
Has nothing to do with the United States, Boria. This is not a state trying to gain. You're completely not understanding this part of the world, and I don't blame you. You know nothing about this part of the world.
Bro.
So let's talk about the
Bro, we got it.
What I'm saying is that, Shaw, if that right was a right, surely, in United States,
it's universally recognized.
It does not. It's not in United States. Not in United
States. Universally, it's a fundamental human right recognized by the United Nations. So I'm sorry, but your argument is irrelevant.
Hypothetically,
It's gonna be the next day.
Hypothetically, if one day Florida want to go independent, do you?
You're still talking about Florida. This has nothing to do with the subject.
To be honest, if you're gonna make the analogy, I'm not really convinced. I can't imagine why not.
Oh, exactly. Why not? You got to find out why it's not. Why not in the United States? The same reason applies to.
No, this is not the same thing. We're talking about an independent ethnic group with its own language and history and land called the Kurds. Let's focus on the Kurds. Stop trying to change the subject.
And I want my 2 minutes now. I want to take my turn to speak. I open soon, especially to speak about the conflict between the Palestinians and the Israeli, which right now there is a war between those two nations. I call the Palestinian a nation, even though maybe some will not agree with me.
Palestine is a nation. There are people, they have a language, they have money, they have their own life, and we control those nations for the last 75 years. And, I'm looking at the clubhouse people who come to speak, to look for agreements, not for fighting. And what I see, I try with, what's his name, we have a more, and it become more Israeli and Jewish. I'm more looking for the Palestinian to argument with me and to put the points spatially for looking what agreements we have together. Most of all, we have a conflict. There is no way. I can't hide it. But I'm looking for the agreements and trying, for instance, here in the room, more to let the Palestinian talk. My thinking is about the Kurdish problem in Turkey or Damascus. It's a big problem. I know that Israel in a good relationship with the Kurdish, but I prefer here in my room more to speak about the conflict between the Israeli to the Palestinian, and more bring Palestinian like Soren is the only one. Maybe there is more that I don't know, to let them speak freely in my room. And for my Israeli friends like Igal, I like him very much to be on the stage and not always to run away from my room, because he's the most close to me in our opinions, our leftist opinion. And I think this is my little thing I can do for this conflict is to speak with the Palestinians.
How are you?
Not only we as Jewish Israeli between ourselves. And maybe last week give it one case, somebody compare us. I don't remember it was Syrian or Palestine or whoever it was, compare us to a Nazis. It's very, very difficult for the Israeli. Wow, we are Nazis. You compare, you say we are not. Everyone can say what he wants, the same what he speak in the Palestinian room. I want him to speak free in my room. Even as much as complicated for a Jewish Israeli here to listen for this cooperation. It's so awful. Yes, it's difficult, but we have to learn to listen for the enemy. There are our enemy. Yes, that's what it is. I finish now before somebody wants to ask.
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you 1,000%.
So, to be honest, I want to say something. That's a very good point. The issue between Palestine and Israel, it spreads. So, how? Take one example. The Hamas fighter, who was ex-ISIS fighter in Iraq, right? Took a little girl, right? And this guy, I don't know from where he could, and he actually succeeded to take this 11 years Kurdish Yazidi girl, take it to Gaza, and then use her as a slave for 10 years. So I'm telling you, this issue is concerned the Kurds, Turks, all Arab countries, Qatar, for example. When you see this guy, the leader of the Syria now, he's born in Syria, so it concerns. So everything is related to each other, and we can't just talk about that conflict as it is, and we can't talk about others. For example, I think even the conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenian, Armenia, it's a kind of related to this issue. So when we're talking, I think that's unavoidable. You have to talk about others. I believe Soren, if he's talking about Palestinian, he should talk about others' rights as well.
Why
If you think, because it's not just a Soren, for example. I've been speaking with Palestinian in person. They are calling the Jewish way back. No, in person. I mean, not here.
Why did you bring it on the stage?
No, from.
Men not allowed to, because I know you're gonna try and pitch. Well, why are men not allowed to have their own space?
Okay, so I'll leave. Other women should do the same, I guess.
Okay, let me show you. Hold on. There you go. I'll help you to the door. Tired of her fucking crying, causing problems. I don't even know this boy, and all she does is fucking complain. And Chris, let me tell you something, Chris, yeah, you're sensitive, but you're always respectful. That chick, if you disagree about the color of the sky, there's a problem. So I'm just tired of that shit. Remember, I didn't bring the smoke. She came to my stage and brought smoke to me. So there's that. What's up, Jason? I'm being dead ass serious. Like, you come into my space, you start with me, and then you're gonna cry and play the fucking victim. Get the fuck out of here. So tired of this cancel Me Too movement bullshit. Listen, you see Naomi on the top left there, in the VIP section? I've been around this woman for 3 or 4 years. She'll tell you that I'm nothing but respectful, so you know what? She gives respect back.
Ooh.
But this bullshit complaining about men, saying the worst things, then you can leave quietly. But when you come into my space, you say, are you crazy? Why am I crazy? Because I opened this fucking space? Nah, I don't play it. So let her go. She's going to open the room. She's going to cry. She's going to complain. Can you believe JB did that? You came to my stage and you insulted me as soon as you got on stage. You couldn't say, hey, Jane, how you doing, Jane? How's your day? You see how that works?
Very good. How about you, Jane?
Any day above ground is a great day for me, Jane.
Are you saying who you're talking about or no?
Oh, Sarah, the one I just put out.
Jesus.
The perpetual cries all the time, 24/7.
Oh,
On
Jesus.
the burner phone. I don't give a fuck. But yeah, here's the deal. Okay, how you doing?
Hey, gorgeous. I just wanted to say that men should have a safe space, and I think in today's society, men are being as oppressed as women have been in the past. So, ladies, give respect.
Thank you for that. Well, let me say this.
Jay, she said gorgeous, so that's
I know
nice.
she did.
You registered that, okay?
That's the second time I got that today.
Very nice.
But I'll say this, and maybe Jason could back me up on this. I don't know. But yo, it's really tough being a real man in this world right now. Because when you're just being yourself, you're being a misogynist. You say, hey, Naomi, pretty PTR. Miriam, nice PTR. I'm not shooting any shot. I'm just giving a compliment. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Phenomenal, Jay. And yourself?
Man, any day above ground is a great day for me. But this whole bullshit started earlier because there was a room and somebody got out of line with Sarah, and he did get out of line. And it was a whole to-do about nothing, all bullshit. And she got her feelings, she opened the room, how men have no respect for women on this app. Bro, it's a fucking app, Jay. It's an app. If you don't like it, you can leave quietly. Why do you sit there and take the abuse and then try to be the victim? Somebody explain that to me.
Anyone can be an internet warrior. Anyone can have a voice. Anyone can say anything about themselves they want to. The way you facilitate that is the way that you compose yourself in adversity and non-adversity. So people watch, they listen, they like to repeat, but they don't act. Sarah has her ways. Maybe she needs more emotional inputs and needs to express her outputs, but don't take offense to it, because the minute you do is the minute that where she
Yeah,
needs
Jay, you're so emotionally delicate and sensitive.
where you contain yourself.
You're getting so emotional, Jay.
Who's watching or who's talking? That's what people pay attention. You can fuck up. Anyone can make a mistake. But if you keep making mistakes, and then when you try to, upgrade yourself, people that kept track of your mistakes always try to throw you down. And I'm like, oh, that's why you're in my rear view. That's why I lead you. You come here. Now I don't go there. You know, and I understand.
Not really. I like to listen. But if you guys ever talk about Armenia or the we have a similar conflict with Azerbaijan. Regarding self-determination. Absolutely. I salute you, Diron. I salute your cause against the Azerbaijan, and I condemn the backer of this apartheid regime of Azerbaijan. We know who the backers of that regime is, Diron. Yeah, but what's the difference between Armenians wanting self-determination and Karabakh and the Kurds wanting self-determination? Wouldn't it be similar? Yes and no. I mean, for the case of Kyrgyzstan, it's very complicated. And it's some 4 countries involved.
I want to hear Adrian, you just arrived now to the room. Can you tell me how old are you and where you're from? Adrian.
Yeah, I'm from America.
America, are you Jewish? Are you Palestinian?
Ribono shel olam. Good Shabbos, gekachen lichtig in dein Augen. Fushta.
Also Jewish. I'm looking for once that can really represent.
It's so boring, though. Aren't you looking for a devil's advocate? That's what you're looking for. And you think you can coexist with the devil? Good luck.
Adrian, it's a serious group. Give your serious opinion. Be honest.
The serious opinion is that coexistence is a fine and sound, practical, common sense thing. But unfortunately, look what happened in Germany. You have a Saudi doctor, an intellectual, highly educated, committing a mass terrorist attack. Clearly, there's something going on in the programming. I would call it Islam. I would call it the Quran. I would call it the media. I would call it a lot of things. If you think you're going to coexist with that, good luck. Good luck. You're going to need it.
Thank you for my good luck. There are some people not on the stage. One of them is written with Arab. When you come up, the Arab they're written. What is written there? Aksam. Can you come on the stage? Aksam, whatever you are. Looking for a real Palestinian for once. A real Palestinian who will tell me. Let's say JB. Joy Burner. Where are you from? How old are you, Joy Burner? I'm gonna run away.
Joy lives in California. She's an actress. I think coexistence is great. That's what the Baha'i faith is all about. And they build beautiful temples and they do coexistence services. It is a psychological vibration of peace and love and harmony and joy. But, that's not for everybody. Some people are very angry. I've never had a relative killed or a family member killed where I wanted to take vengeance, but I'm pretty sure I would. So
that's exactly what I want, is to look for their motive for being so bad, so evil as you call them.
Electric deadline on.
Adrian, you didn't talk. Alcott, you didn't talk. With Alcott. You know that I have quite a few people here and I'm very glad about it. But
I think Darian wants to talk.
Do we all get royalties when you stream this room on YouTube and Instagram?
when I get paid by YouTube, I'll be happy to share some money with you. But until I get monetized, it's never going to happen.
All right, just heads up, guys.
Here in this room, everybody can speak about everything he wants. Everything.
No, I just wanted to salute Iran and Armenian cause against the fascist regime of Azerbaijan, which killed many innocent Orthodox Christians, unfortunately, by drones, which was given to Azerbaijan to kill your people. I salute your cause, man. And you been through.
Thank you, sir. I'm married and I'm taken, but thank you. Thank you.
You know, I have served with Azerbaijani soldiers. They don't like their government. They like a Western style of government. And, you know, they also hate the Armenians. The problem is hate, lack of education, programming, conditioning, propaganda, misinformation, and lies. And I just got to say, I think people like Soren are hypocrites. I think you are really just a hypocrite. You don't denounce violence. You don't denounce, you know, I mean, Soren, don't you see your own hypocrisy in what you're doing? Like, you can't call a spade when you violate the law. That's the law. October 7th was a major violation of law. And you're going to go back 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years. When do you call a spade a spade?
I'm just talking about the innocent Armenians which were killed by drones given to Azerbaijan by Israel, and the fact genocide has not been recognized by Israel yet.
No, wait a second.
Armenian genocide has not been recognized by Israel yet.
So
can you educate this man about the Israeli drones? He doesn't know. He doesn't know about Israeli drones.
Okay, so again, you are trying to tell lies about Israel. This is not the place for that. To try to get off.
Iran can educate you on that.
I'm sorry. I mean, if you're gonna lie, you should go to the room that takes the truth. Like you should. You're a vicious anti-Semite. You really don't belong here, but here you are. Nobody's believing your lies. You represent the fascist regime of Iran, the IRGC. The Iranians themselves hate you. You steal their money. There's a 30% poverty rate in Iran. Why in such a rich country? Where is that money going? You need to answer for yourself. Never mind talking about other countries. Korea.
Iran, can you please educate the room about the drones and everything given to us?
I've spoken with Holden. You understand.
Thank you.
I mean, let me just Google these drones that go to Azerbaijan from Israel. I mean, where is Iran sending their drones? Where is Iran sending their ballistic missiles? They're sending them to terrorize the people of Israel. And, you know, you and what you're doing is eventually going to come to an end, Soren, because it's illegal.
It's not just Israel, Adrian. They're sending weapons to the Houthi to kill Arabs in Yemen. They send arms to Bashar al-Assad to kill Arabs in Syria. There's no end to the death that Korea or Soren's country sows on the planet. And to try to change the subject of Israel is a childish, pathetic thing to do.
Listen, there's a lot of good Americans, thousands of Americans that died as a result of the Iranians sending IEDs to Afghanistan, to Iraq. I mean, you know, they're going to have to either comply by the law or they're going to be destroyed by the law.
I looked up, the history of the Armenian genocide, and I feel a kinship as a victim of a genocide afterwards. My Armenian friend Eric Bogosian said that the Nazi genocide against Jews was modeled on the Turkish genocide against Armenians. They used similar techniques. And certainly the Jews, the world looked the other way while this was happening. And certainly the Jewish people of America raised money and lobbied the government of America to stop this genocide in Armenia. And you have our full support and acknowledgement over this, and it should not be allowed to stand. And the world should demand that Turkey acknowledge this horrible crime that it committed. And then we can get on to the crimes of the IRGC, which is probably going to fall before the flowers of spring does. But we're not talking, now we need to go back to coexistence, as Amos has said. We're talking about coexistence.
Diran, why do you think, in your opinions, I'll just put the link in the chat as well, why do you think Israel has not recognized the Armenian genocide yet? What do you think?
The link is
already in the chat. The link is already in the chat.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I think if you're gonna keep derailing the room, then I think you're probably.
Why did you delay the comments, sir? Why did you delay my comment a little more?
Because you're trying to derail the room, and I warned you a couple times.
Are you scared of what I don't
know? I think I'm trying
because that's evident breach of your narrative, isn't it? I mean,
Sorry, does Iran recognize the Armenian.
We do, but not Israel.
See, this is the irony of a coexistence room with Soren. Soren is incapable of coexistence. He doesn't talk about peace. He doesn't talk about joy or happiness. He doesn't even talk about his personal life. Does he have a girlfriend? Does he have an apartment? What kind of work does he do? The man is a non-playable character, incapable of coexistence, and it is a waste of your time, my time, everyone's time to even communicate with him.
I think that it's very simple. Sorry, you said yes, but it's not. Iranian, not government, not parliament does not recognize the Armenian genocide. Not this regime, not the Shah regime.
So every single month, on the 14th of April, all the Armenians in Iran
can count on for this
protest
person.
against the Turkish.
The one thing you can count on from this person is one lie after another. He will add nothing to the conversation.
There is a list, sorry. There is a list. I'm read it out for you. Argentina, Australia, Austria, Belgium, Bolivia, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Denmark, France, Germany, Greece, Policy, Italy, Lebanon, Lithuania, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Russia, Slovakia, Sweden, Switzerland, Syria, even Syria does recognize it. Uruguay, United States. So there is not Iran, not this regime, not the one before. So you this is a hypocrisy. I'm talking. So if it's bad for Israel, it's bad for Iranian as well. To be honest, I like to speak on this matter.
Absolutely. Look, Iran, my understanding is that they did recognize the Armenian genocide. It's like on the Olympic every year, the Armenians always protest against the Turkish embassy in Iran. You can fact check me on that. If it wasn't, then they wouldn't allow it.
Can I complete this one if you don't? I've been in the Isfahan Church of Armenia. I was asking about how it happened. I was young. I was 16. And the guy said, we are not allowed to speak. Sorry, you can just watch and go out. Sorry, to be honest, if you pointing the Israeli government, why they not recognize it? Just look at this. I mean, this is a kind of level of hypocrisy. You can say, I recognize it. I think Amos and Adrian and others gonna accept it. They're saying it was a genocide. I'm gonna say it was a genocide. But if we don't say it, and just point it out, the Jewish doesn't recognize it, the Jewish doesn't recognize it, Iranian doesn't recognize it either.
I'll put the link in the chat for you, which shows that Iran does recognize, and just for your information, Shahu, and not for anyone else, because I'm pretty sure that you're here to learn. So I'll put the link in the chat for you. Iran does recognize the genocide as well.
He just read you the list for you.
Generously.
Why would you come in here and lie? It's not. This room is not about you. Let's hear from somebody else. That's enough. We've heard enough from you. Thank you for your contribution.
No worries. My pleasure. My American comrade.
No, the pleasure is all ours. My Chechnyan friend.
Yeah, I mean, this German terror attack, I mean, the videos are, that's the problem with gun control, and our First Amendment, Second Amendment. I mean, a truck is so destructive and people get together. So it's like there's really no security in this, world, in this reality. But, the thing is linguistics and coexistence. Soren, do you actually communicate outside of your normal communication, which is just like repeating news tidbits? I mean, are you a real human being? Do you have a woman that you love? Are you saving your money to buy a house? Like, who are you and why do you come on this app and just do a non-playable character? And why is your PTR always the same PTR? Like, who are you and what happened to you? And do you want to, what is it called when the Russians, do you want to defect? That's what I want to know. If I could get the State Department to send you $200,000 and you could renounce what you're doing, would you move to Chicago, Miami, DC, San Francisco and take a $200,000 check and say, okay, I've been a bad guy, but I was just doing what my government told me to do, and I'm an information warfare soldier on the internet, but I'm renouncing all of it because they are terrorists. They do kill people, abuse people, and you know what? I'm going to step away, and I'm going to expose them for their crimes. Soren, would you take a $200,000 check to defect?
Money, look, the part of the culture that I've come from, unlike some of the other cultures in the world, money is not an essence. Like, we don't care about money, unlike some cultures.
Oh, so you're a spiritualist and you believe in God and coexistence. You're the real peacemaker. I understand. Oh, wow. I didn't know you're such a great guy.
My pleasure. Look, we don't care about money. We're not known.
Normo, did you know this about Soren? He's a highly ethical, moral person who doesn't care about money. He cares about peace and love and joy.
We're not talking about irony language. Adrian has a one point, sorry. Saying if we are talking about coexistence, it's for example, I remember the first day I met you here. You asked me a question. I give you a very relevant thinking about myself. But I'm asking you. I think if we're talking about coexistence, Adrian has a right to ask you about your personal life. I mean, he's not asking to attack you. Do you have someone to love or not? But he's pointing out. You should tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, the point is, life is about life, Soren. It's not about spreading propaganda and misinformation. It's about living a life. A life. That means love. That means property. That means assets. That means food. That means health. That means any kind of communication other than what you're doing. Like, why do you do what you do? Oh, that's right, because you're a good guy. You don't care about money. You're a very highly ethical, moral person interested in spreading coexistence and love and joy. Right, Soren? You're a fucking hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. That's what you are. I wouldn't even say you're a liar because we all know that. Many people just don't know you're a hypocrite. And you probably cannot accept the fact that you are a hypocrite. Go look in the mirror and tell us what you see.
Yeah, look, I understand the concern that you have, but look, at the end of the day, me and my people are not known to be greedy, money-loving, money-grabbing.
Which people is this? Wait, which people?
I don't know. Some people are known to be that characteristic.
I mean, you're known to be
Chechens.
So what about Chechens?
Some other cultures. Some other cultures.
Why are you in greedy people? Did you think you were in a Chechnya?
Money-loving people.
Why are you in this room if you're from Chechnya? I don't get it.
It's coexistence.
He is a spiritualist. He's on the path to God. He doesn't care about money. Everything is a Jewish joke to him. He's an anti-Semitic propagandist from Iran. When he says me and my people, he means the IRGC and the ruling elite of Iran, which persecute, murder, and abuse their people.
Surely there is some stuff we can talk about, Zell, and I'm happy to talk about it, but in a rational way, not in that language, to be honest. And again, if we're talking about coexistence, I think it's essential to know each other because the result and the outcome is going to get better. I know Adrian is a bit using harsh language, but I agree with it. I'm not agree with the language, sir, but I agree with what he's saying.
Absolutely. Look, many people are known, like Japanese are known to be smart, French wine, the Kurdish are strong men, and some of the cultures.
Bringing racial stereotypes into I don't think this is.
That's not proofy.
30 minutes ago, Soren, I heard you attack a Jewish woman and say that she sounds like a man, and then you started puking when she was speaking Hebrew. Soren, I got to tell you, I know why you're here, because you're a very disagreeable, pathetic human being. This is why you're here. You have no woman. You have nothing, because you're a loser, Soren, and this is all you got. So I'm just so glad to be here in a coexistence room to call you out and say you're a fucking loser. You hear me, Soren? You're a fucking loser.
No, this Adrian guy is recording the radio.
This is
the guy that caused big problems for Dr. Jordan.
I don't understand. What you speak here is secretly. I heard it a couple of times in different rooms. He is recording the room.
So what if he's?
I'm just telling you. Dr. Jordan, if you know him, he's trying to sue this man.
Yeah, Dr. Jordan Shaw is suing me for live streaming Clubhouse onto YouTube. That's how ridiculous he is and how neurotic he is. If he wastes $1 suing me when I have nothing, good luck.
What the problem about it? What the problem? What secrets?
All right.
What
Just letting you know, Amos. It's your room. I'm just telling you.
Thank you for telling me, but you know, it's not the first time I hear that somebody tell about someone. He's an agency. He's recording.
Double agent. I mean, you can criticize me. You do realize Soren records all this as well, right? There would be no reason for Soren to come here and do what he does unless he records it to distribute it on the internet.
There's a lot of rooms that are recording by themselves. I even don't know. I know that sometimes I go, I see one of my friends, I push, and I hear all the discussion, what's happened in the room, without I even want to hear it. What? There is no secrets. We don't talk here secrets. If somebody wants to record, he can record. I don't see anything. So.
All right. No, that's cool. I apologize for disrupting your room.
No.
It's in my profile, Double Agent. If you want to watch my artistic work, just go to adriandittman.com to see all my recordings.
Wait, do you still have the OnlyFans vids?
I changed it. I rebranded completely Adrian Dittman now because OnlyFans is too risque. Can't use that in the titles. You know, it gets labeled as spam.
But like Amos said, we're not saying we're something secretly. We are openly having a discussion about something. I don't think so. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, one time I told Soren, let's agree that we are not agree on anything. So this is a very good start. We are not agree on anything, and we should find something we are agree on. He said, human.
I want one thing that all the room will agree with me. The hostages must be released yesterday, not tomorrow, yesterday. I want everybody to agree with me in the room. Somebody want to argue?
Absolutely, Amos. Absolutely, Amos. I agree with you. Particularly the like thousands of Palestinians who are illegally.
You see, just when you thought Soren agreed with you, he reversed it. You see how Soren does it? He's so smart. He's so good at misinformation, propaganda, spinning the story.
So what's your motive to all the time come here and look for arguments and look for balagan? It sounds to me that you speak Yiddish when you arrive to the room. And okay, I like people who like propaganda. I'm by myself like propaganda. But, you know, each one of us come here, whatever his motive is here, you want to speak, let him speak. Even if it's very difficult for you to listen, learn to listen. And then you can speak. Don't all the time he's recording, he's doing this, he's doing that.
You see, that's how normal people have conversations, but Soren is like a robot NPC who just bursts out all the latest news tidbits that he thinks support his position. He's insane.
So Soren thinks the same about
Not really. He really follows the news. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like he has to be doing this. He's not doing it for altruistic coexistence purposes. He's a hypocrite and a liar and a fraud. Everything he does has a hidden motive. Don't you see that? So when you create coexistence rooms and you let him pontificate, all you're doing is letting him get his dopamine off and fulfill his mission and objective of being a disinformationist. It's just obvious, and you support him. That's my criticism of you and other people on this app who are really, you know, they give him platform.
I support anyone who come to my room and want to speak. Whether he's clever or less clever, it's not of your business. You talk about what is your opinion?
No, it's not. It's not just a criticism of you. It's about his whole. It's about his mission statement here. It's about what he says.
You can speak about Shuki. You know Shuki?
Yeah, because these are real people. They talk about their lives. Soren is he's a non-playable character recording recording device. He's not a real human.
Adrian, I think what Amos said is that, listen, that's tolerance, a little bit more tolerance. And then, even though if it's certain that character is you describing, he has the right to talk of it. And we can challenge him. That's the purpose of talking.
I agree with you, Shah. Like again, you're from the Kurdish narrative. I'm happy to be educated. Amos Israeli, El Norma from New York, American view, by the way. And I know people come from different parts of the world. Obviously, the way that they grew up.
The first one will be from Gaza. The first one, I recognize him from Gaza, from Bethlehem, from Hebron, a real Palestinian. Right now, and there are some of them, but they will not come to the room. They're afraid of us.
Yeah, because Amos, the problem is that people talk and people argue, and some people are scared. I mean, that's why they delete the comments on the chat, for example.
Responsible.
Give them the privilege of being moderated, for example. They
So
delete the comments.
I expect people like you to bring those people to here.
It's difficult. Like a normal.
I'm criticizing him I'm criticizing him, but he has that power. But I'm criticizing him to remove your admin back channel. I think there's no point to delete that chat. That's your thought. Even though you're gonna delete it, that's your thought.
Yeah, it's the problem. Amos is the same people from these companies are already on the block list of El Norma. It's got a massive block list, so they. That's a sign.
This is not true. Actually, not true, Alex.
It is true. He even blocked me too. In fact, this is one of the biggest. That's a fact. He blocked me.
I didn't give you the most for sure. I give 800.
No one can get into this room because of the law.
I know this is not true. By the way, the room is bigger.
Someone give me a point of view that I didn't felt about it.
Not true.
I hope.
He lies all day long.
No, it's true. He blocked me.
I have a question. Thank you, Amos. So I have a question. Does Iran consider Hamas as a terrorist organization as well? I don't know about that. If they do, then everybody wants to, at least everybody in this room accepts Hamas as a terrorist organization. We also believe that terrorists shouldn't have they shouldn't die. Sorry.
Let him speak.
Yeah, so
That was my mistake. I was on mute. I apologize.
okay, no problem. So everybody accepts that terrorists shouldn't exist. For Israel to ensure that 7th of October doesn't repeat, they have to make sure that the Hamas doesn't exist. To protect their people, they can go to any extent. The morality says to protect their people, they can go to any extent just to eliminate the threat that their people might face in the future, right? So I don't see any other way to ensure the Hamas doesn't exist in future than what Israel is doing today. And the Hamas.
It is called the law, Armpit. It's called LAW, which spells law. And when you violate the law, that's when your armpit becomes stinky and there are repercussions for violating the law. Do you know what the law is?
Adrian, can you read?
I can read the law, and I know October 7th was a violation of the law and repercussions. It has consequences when you violate the law. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
What law?
It is called the law of ancient conquest. Fuck around and you'll find out. It is called the ancient law of conquest. When you fuck around, motherfucker,
normal. What do you think? Adrian, you doing the same thing. So Soren attacked on that lady, and I wasn't agree with Soren in that subject. He said, is a man or a woman? I'm not agree with one as well, Adrian. I think I have accent as well, and this is not very coexistence atmosphere to talk. Sorry to interrupt you, Ahmed.
For sure. When you got an accent, is that you know other languages? Like, you know, that's what it says. It means that you know other languages. Like, what if you go in one language, like American New York accent? That would be very lonely. I mean, people only in one language.
Well, sorry, to be honest, I wasn't agree with you to attack on that lady. She annoyed.
That was Jeannie. I didn't know. Well, honestly, I didn't know she was a woman and man. I was honest, it was Jeannie.
You could ask me because she called Linda, and I think that's obviously she's a lady.
These days, you can be Linda and a man. I mean, welcome to 2020.
Go ahead, Mason. Not you.
Okay, all right, Cheryl. Along with the point, what I want to say is what Israel is doing. I mean, the argument that they're putting forth, right, that they have to ensure that the 7th October thing doesn't repeat. And to do that, they have to do everything and anything in their capacity. That's what they're doing. I mean, is there any other way they can ensure that 7th October doesn't repeat and, you know, that people are not killed? Is there any other way?
No, it's an illusion of security. So all you can do is persist in the law and security. Everyone knows that there's no such thing as a 100% guaranteed security. Terrorist attacks happen, assassinations happen, wars happen, conflicts happen, hate happens, anger happens. So, I mean, unless you want to get spiritual and go down the path of God and love, you have to maintain your Second Amendment right to protect yourself with a firearm. And, you know, Germany, they are really broken, really broken. Thank God Trump won. If Trump didn't win, you could have kissed America goodbye, in my opinion.
Yeah, somebody from the not on the stage want to come up. John, who is John? John is something. יגאל, אני כועס עליך, אתה לא מבין כמה. אתה כל כך לא בסדר. אתה לא יכול לכבד אותי פעם אחת בשבוע לעלות למעלה. I told Yigal, he's not on the stage, that I'm very mad on him in Hebrew. But let's hear John. John, who is...
Shalom, I'm Kafet.
Shalom, John. Juan? What should I call you?
So, I mean, I linked something in the chat. I think I'll never believe it, but I linked something in the chat about Israeli prisons, and I would theoretically like to speak about that, but since the room is being recorded, I would prefer not to.
So you got nothing to say? You don't even have an opinion on Israeli prisons and the Palestinians inside of the prisons because you're a coward? Is it because you're a little coward? Are you a little coward? Like a little baby girl? Go back home to mommy. Go back home to mommy, little girl. You're a coward. You little scaredy cat. Oh, it's being recorded. Oh, run away. Run away. Ah! Grow up and be a man, you little coward.
I think as a doctor you can do it because if it's solid argument, why not? You can do it.
More, can you
he's recording the room and like I don't feel comfortable speaking about that. It's just like
and more, you have problem with David with some clip. Please put your mode off and more. And more.
Why?
And more is not listening to me. I'll put him down because he's blocking some people.
Who are you talking about? I'm not blocked. You're talking to me, Norma?
You blocked David.
David who?
David, I don't know. There is one David who calls me.
David Bobadilla.
I'll check my block list. I don't block.
Oh, please just go down and
We don't do respect. Kick him.
Hang on.
I gotta go on a date. This is too much fun.
I'm not blocking people. This is a liar who talked to you almost. Please. I'm going to look and see if I have somebody named. Who is David? From where? What is who? David who?
I don't know.
Amos, why don't you just focus on your room? Focus who's in the room as opposed to who's outside of the room, because they're distracting you and it's taking you away, Rabbeinu Shalom, from your good Shabbos.
More people came to the room because of Amos.
David is it yours? It's you just go in and now we go out again.
Well,
okay, he was in the room. I saw him now.
I don't have it locked, Amos.
Okay,
he just makes things up. He's trying to manipulate you.
No, sometimes it doesn't work. He thinks. Let him go out and come back, Amos. Maybe it works.
I've seen him for a minute and he go out. For me, it's enough. I see him for 1 second. He was here and he go out. I saw him. So it means if I saw him, it means he can come to the room.